I think, there's a lot going on in this movie other than his arc, I'll be honest with you, but I think that the slight change that definitely happens with him is he moves into a place where he realizes that it's better to act together than alone, which is as much as I can give away there. But I also think within that, there's an evolution from the guy who, yes, he changed from being a surgeon who is doing it for the glory in a gilded cage into becoming someone selfless, doing it for a greater purpose other than his own, in becoming a superhero in that origin story. But since then, he's kind of become omnipotent, omnipresent, and just all-knowing as well. And I think all the omnis, I think in that his ego has slightly got the better of him again. And rather like where he went wrong as a surgeon, I think that's creeping into his sorcery. And that's probably the moment, the moments that are most challenging for him in this is when he realizes, there's not always one way, and it can't always be me holding the knife.
Well, I think she's finally accepted this idea of her being having her own destiny and being kind of a mythic person, and allowing herself to be that at the end of WandaVision. And I think she dives straight into it and for the first time has a sense of clarity about who she is and confidence about what she is. And I think that's where we find her at the beginning of Doctor Strange. I think she just continues to understand her power more and more as the older she gets, the longer we spend time with her. I feel like she does become more powerful. And I also think there's an obvious strength that comes with this new sense of confidence. And I think that in itself, and this acceptance of herself, is part of that power as well.
Yeah, thank you. Great question. It's just, he's gone from this librarian midfield general now, and the level of responsibility and the pressures that he now has, of being the leader of Kamar-Taj, and he's kind of always been to some extent Stephen's teacher and confidant, and it's really, they're quite the odd couple, because somehow he's the maverick and Wong is the kind of like much more the wiser one, and trying to kind of just rein him back in a bit more, really. So I think it's had a much a heightened new dynamic now between both of them.
Yeah, Sam can't help but play with lenses and timing the way he does. I think that's just part of his DNA as a filmmaker for what he's made for so many decades since he was a kid. And I think there is all these movies, they do kind of have every film kind of, or show now, has its own existence, and you feel a different energy from each job. And this one was definitely us leaning into just kind of taking a leap of faith, and like we always have to do. There's a leap of faith with sitcom and WandaVision. There's a leap of faith with this kind of darker genre with Sam and Doctor Strange.
I think horror is nearer than terror. Because it's Sam Raimi, and it's also of a certain certification. So there's some schlock horror, there's some jump scares for sure, and any fans of Sam Raimi will love the sort of very Sam Raimi-esque moments in that. I'm not a huge consumer of horror. I sort of hesitate to say fan, because I think I probably would be. I can admire the brilliance of horror films as a genre, let alone the really good ones. The Shining is one of my favorite films, actually. That is a horror film, but mixes a lot of other things in there, as the best horror films do. I think it's setting itself up for a fool to say it's a full-on horror film. I really do, and I think, anyone expecting that will be disappointed. It's not called the horror of the multiverse, it's called the madness. And there's a bit more madness in there than there is horror.
think so, yeah. I mean, Easter's not over. There are far more eggs in this film, and I can't wait for audience to see it. I think it was wonderful. I mean, me as a fan watching No Way Home, the level of shrilling and shouting and screaming, just as a fan, because you're just, shaking your head, and I'm excited to see what the audience, how they feel and see. Yeah.
I think as far as surprises for fans, there are some great surprises in this. I'm not gonna deny that for sure. On the level of Spidey, I mean, it was guessed at, and there were loads of speculations about it. But having been in that audience at the LA premiere and still seeing the joy of when you actually saw those 3 Spider-Men, sorry, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it, it was a fantastic thing. And it also meant that we were celebrating in that moment, whether we meant to or not, like 30 years of filmmaking. Was it 30 or 20? 20 at least. That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary to bring off in a franchise. So, yeah, there might be something similar to that, but it's quite a high bar. But there's definitely something for everyone in this film. If you're an MCU fan, great. If you're a Sam Raimi fan, this is really your bag as well.
I hope so. I think this idea of the multiverse that's already been introduced through Spider-Man creates really, really incredible opportunities for storytelling. I think a lot of us in our lives think about, well, if I went to this other school, or if I didn't have this breakup, or if I took a different job opportunity, all these choices and all of our parents' choices have led us exactly to where we are today. And I love this idea of being able to explore the multiverse, to see all these opportunities in lives that these characters who people have fallen in love with could have had they made a different choice at some point. And I think that for storytelling is just kind of bottomless. And so I think it could create really, really amazing stories moving forward.